G'day, I'm Charlie Pryde.
And I'm Jennifer Pryde. Welcome to our YouTube channel, Pride of the Villages.
This is our third video about Virgin Voyages cruise lines. Our first video was an introduction to Virgin Voyages Scarlet Lady and the Dominican Days itinerary. Our second video was how to spend your sailor loot, as we had a lot of it for this cruise on the Valiant Lady. In this video, we highlight the 7-day Lesser Antilles itinerary, focusing on the original port of San Juan and the 4 ports of call with shore excursions that we enjoyed. We will not be discussing the ship layout, as the Valiant Lady is identical to the Scarlet Lady with the same deck plans and restaurants as we highlighted in our previous videos. However, we will mention some entertainment unique to this ship and give you some tips that we have learned on our 2 voyages with Virgin. First, an overview of the itinerary. This 7-night cruise was to the Southern Caribbean, sailing round trip from San Juan and visiting the islands of Aruba, Curacao, Martinique, and St. Kitts. We arrived in San Juan the day before the cruise and stayed at the Doubletree Hotel, located in the Punda District with access to the beautiful beaches where windsurfing and kite surfing was very popular on the day. We have 2 tips on dining in Condado, with the first being Bibo's Cafe, located just down the street from the Doubletree. We had some great authentic Puerto Rican cuisine and the accompaniment of many local residents. Secondly, Pinky's is a breakfast institution in San Juan with 2 locations in Condado. Don't pass up on the breakfast sandwiches at this establishment. At 10 a.m. on sailing day, we checked out of the hotel and headed to the cruise terminal, as the San Sebastian Festival was ongoing in the old San Juan Historic District and traffic to the port area was restricted. Upon arriving, we were allowed to check in and drop our luggage, but actual boarding of the ship was not allowed until our scheduled 3 p.m. time. Virgin provided complimentary boxed water during the process, as the temperature was rising. With 4 hours to spare until our boarding, we headed up the hill into the festival area where people were having a great time. After taking in some of the festivities, we visited Castillo de San Cristobal, the largest fortress built in the Americas. Named after the patron saint of land travelers, St. Christopher, Castillo San Cristobal was built for the purpose of protecting the city of San Juan from attack by European powers such as the English and the Dutch. It is a fortification with 3 levels and an extensive series of outer defenses, and it took over 150 years to complete. The highest points of the fort provided sweeping views of old San Juan and the cruise ship docks, which reminded us that it was soon time to board. The best tip I can provide upon boarding a Virgin Voyage is get on that app and make those exercise class reservations and reserve your tickets for capacity-controlled entertainment shows, as they can fill up fast. Likewise, for any onboard happenings that require reservations. Your restaurant reservations should have already been made, as they opened on the app 90 days before sailing. Shore excursion reservations open 120 days before the sailing, but if you intend to use your sailor loot for those, you have to wait until boarding to do so. Upon boarding, most of the passengers head to the galley for food. We instead avoid the crowd and go to the Sun Club Cafe on deck 16. Outdoor seating with great views of the harbor, the cafe has top-notch Hawaiian poke bowls and Asian bows. After watching the mandatory safety briefing and checking into your muster station, the first major event of the evening is the sail away party. Make sure to be on decks 15 or 16 for your free champagne. Dinner for us was at the Mexican restaurant Pink Agave, which we consider one of the top restaurants on the ship. Our nightly entertainment was the Misbehave show conducted in the Red Room. Park game show. It pits two sides of the audience in a competition with lots of sailor participation. The ball drop at the end gets everyone out of their seats. The second day of the itinerary is a sea day, as it is some distance from San Juan to our first port of call in Aruba. So after intaking all this great food and drink the day before, how do you lessen the guilt? Through morning exercise, of course. In the massive B complex, there are 2 rooms dedicated to exercise, bike and burn, and build and balance. After exercise, it is back to eating, and our favorite breakfast spot is the Razzle Dazzle restaurant. The rest of the sea day is whatever you want to make of it, as active or relaxing as you like. Schedule of activities are on the app and on the electronic billboards by the elevators. There are also paper copies available at guest services. The pool is a popular spot, just get there early if you want a lounger. Jen likes to play the competition games of trivia and puzzles. There will also be bingo sessions in the Red Room on sea days. You can always get that new tattoo at Squid Ink or visit the spa. The sports court will have a variety of activities. One tip we have is if you enjoy fresh fruit during the day, grab a morning bento box from the galley and put it in your cabin fridge. The bento switched to sushi varieties at lunch and dinner, which are also very good, by the way. Our dinner meal on this sea day was the Italian restaurant Extra Virgin, which is our favorite table service eatery on the ship. Evening entertainment was It's a Ship Show. This is a free-to-attend dinner show that requires reservations. If you have already eaten dinner like we had, don't worry, you can still attend. It takes place in the Manor and is a variety show with some great acts.
Standing in line, running behind people with places to be. Waited so.
I did not know there was still sword-swallowing performers, but this lady was amazing. Also, the acrobats this woman could perform while being tethered to her hair bun were mind-blowing. This show, along with dual reality, are our favorite entertainment activities on Virgin Voyages. Sailing through the night, we arrived at our first port of Orangestad, Aruba. In Aruba, we had a full 15 hours in port, and there are a variety of activities that you can do on this island. This is a great opportunity for scuba divers and snorkelers, with a number of coral reefs and shipwrecks around the island. There are some great beaches offered through the excursions. Plenty of places to party, to include mobile venues. However, we were most interested in exploring the northeastern side of the island, which is rugged and less populated. In contrast to much of the Caribbean, which experiences humid tropical climates, Aruba has a dry climate with an arid xeric landscape more reflective of Baja, Mexico. The best way to explore this area is by four-wheel drive vehicles, and we opted for an excursion utilizing UTV side-by-sides. This tour was conducted by ABC Tours, which was independent of Virgin Voyages, as Virgin did not offer a UTV shore excursion. ABC picked us up at the cruise terminal and transported us to their facility. After signing the required waivers and some basic driving instructions, we were on our way. Highly recommended was the wearing of eye protection and mouth coverings due to the dust raised on the trail, but it was most beneficial against the driving rain we experienced getting to the other side of the island. After all that bouncing around, it was time for a bathroom break at the ruins of a gold mill. Lots of other tours had the same idea.
Charlie, start your engine. Engine on.
Then it was back in the UTV on the road to the California Lighthouse at the northwestern end of Aruba. The lighthouse is named after the steamship California, which was wrecked nearby in 1891. Perched on the highest seaside elevation, the lighthouse has become one of Aruba's scenic trademarks and offers a picture-perfect view of the island's western coastline of beaches and coral shorelines. It is the tallest structure in Aruba, towering at a height of 98 feet. To reach the top, one must ascend 123 steps along a spiraling staircase. You can also get refreshments here, along with a sit-down restaurant with a view. For us, we had a date with the beach for some snorkeling. Snorkeling equipment was provided by our tour guide. After some snorkeling, it was back to ABC Tours, where they provided lunch and a shuttle back to the cruise terminal. The afternoon off the ship was filled with some shopping. There is a small indoor mall with stores right at the terminal, then a row of store vendors as you leave the terminal for the main boulevard. On one side of Lloyd G. Smith Boulevard, you will find more high-end stores, and on the other side, a long row of tent vendors selling Aruba souvenirs. Since we were not departing Aruba until midnight, we opted for a sunset cruise that was booked through Virgin, utilizing some of our sailors' loot. Sailing back to the dock, the passengers took over the music soundtrack. A short walk back to the ship, we arrived just as the party bus was shutting down. It was our first time in Aruba, and we really enjoyed it, and we hope to be back someday. Sailing east at midnight, the boat approached Curacao early morning, and we were docked at the capital of Willemstad by 9 a.m. We were to be in port until 7 p.m. that evening. For our shore activity, we opted for Made in Curacao, which is a Virgin Voyages excursion we booked with Sailor's Loot. This tour was on a really nice bus, and the first stop was a distillery that made the Curacao liqueur. The distillery branded itself as the genuine Curacao liqueur, as there are many imitations made off the island. On the tour, they go through the whole process of growing and harvesting of the La Raja orange, whose peel is dried and used as a main component in the making of the liqueur. There are many different colors and flavors of the product, and you get to see the bottling take place at the distillery. We were then provided with 3 different samples to try.
Is that the original?
Green one?
Yep, it's the original. That's the chocolate. And the last one's the tamarind. Which one did you like the best?
Tamarind.
See, I like the chocolate one the best.
Of course, there was a gift store with the chance to purchase a bottle or 2 of the genuine Curacao liqueur. The second part of the tour was to the aloe vera farm, home to Curaloe. We were to experience many different benefits of this plant, instructed by our guide, Day.
Day, but you might call me Day. Not Friday, not Monday, just Day. Alright? The aloe oil. If you take it like this, your mouth will be like this for the whole day. You can't taste nothing no more for the whole day, because this is bitter. Better than this, I haven't tried yet in my whole life. For you, and for you, I don't you want to dance with you? Piece of aloe. Can you feel it? Can you feel the nutrients over it?
Exactly. Yep.
Are you doing okay, sir?
Then
After our tasting and making experience, Jennifer visited the Curaloe store to pick up some gift for coworkers, and there were many options indeed. The third and last part of our tour was to Serena's art factory to see the making of Chichi Dolls. This is an art form reflecting Curaçao's culture and is a popular souvenir on the island. In Latin America, Caribbean culture, they often have nicknames for people depending on their function in the family. On Curacao, the older sister of the family used to be called Chichi. The Curacao Chichi doll represents that older sister who is a strong, proud, voluptuous Caribbean woman. It's the person in the family that supports the mom, takes care of the little siblings, and takes on a lot of responsibilities aside from the parents.
She help take care of the little kids, her siblings, help the mom do everything that mom usually do. You guys know mothers is all around to help the kids in every possible way.
After a demonstration on how the dolls are formed and painted, the gift shop provided buying opportunities. Chichis come in a variety of sizes, with some that can easily fit into your luggage, and others not so much. After the tour, the afternoon was free for us to explore Willemstad on our own. From the ship, we wanted to visit the Punda area, the capital. Making a right turn out of the cruise port, we went through the Riff Fort shopping mall. This waterfront entertainment center and shopping area is located at the entrance of St. Anna Bay and has some stores reflective of the Dutch influence. Like Aruba, Curacao is a constituent country within the Kingdom of the Netherlands. Following the shoreline, we needed to cross St. Anna Bay, whose mouth separates 2 halves of the city. The Queen Emma Bridge crosses the mouth, connecting the cruise dock with Punda. Called the Swinging Old Lady, this 1888 pontoon pedestrian bridge opens laterally for passing ships. During the bridge's opening, they run a free ferry across the bay. From the bridge, you have great views and picture opportunities of the iconic Orangestad, the waterfront collection of multicolored buildings that has become Curaçao's most characteristic image. Upon reaching the other side, you have the Punda Love Heart. I'm sure that every couple that has placed a lock on this heart are still in love. At least we would like to think so. Walking along the Orangestad and making a right turn, we came to the floating market. This is where the locals buy fruits and vegetables, much of it coming from nearby Venezuela. They also have a number of souvenir stands. Punda's streets are full of life and colors, fantastic murals, and colorful buildings all over the town. There are a number of statues to people of historical significance. You will also have the opportunity to display your musical talents, as Jen did. There are several signs for those Instagram photos, as well as those nicely elaborated painted chichis around town. Walking back to the cruise ship, Jennifer and I commented that Willemstad is likely the nicest port area we have ever experienced in the Caribbean during our travels. Day 5 was a sea day and basically a repeat of our schedule on day 2. Morning workout, play some games, and of course visit the eateries. For dinner, we tried the Test Kitchen, which was not a restaurant we had visited on our previous Virgin cruise. I have seen food shows where Oreo cookie-sized portions of food are served under a smoking glass dome, and always said, no way am I going to pay $100 for that. Well, since this restaurant is included in the fare, I thought, what the heck, let's give it a try. I will say it is a unique experience, and what may seem strange, like a beetroot foam-topped appetizer and asparagus ice cream dessert, the courses did complement each other. So we would recommend that you at least try the Test Kitchen once on a 7-day cruise and form your own opinion. Nevertheless, 2 hours later, we were hungry again and went to Pizza Place for Hawaiian pie, and although not presented under a glass dish, it was some darn good pizza. Entertainment tonight was Scarlet Night, and unfortunately, due to high winds, everything was confined to indoor activities. Regardless of the weather, everybody dressed in red, and the party did go on. The next morning, we sailed into Fort-de-France, the capital of Martinique, which is an overseas department and region and a single territorial collectivity of the French Republic. The official currency here is the euro. Being in port from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., we opted for a 4.5-hour tour named Martinique Art, Nature, and Spirits, booked through Virgin Voyages using our sailor loot. Again, we were on a really comfortable bus with an outstanding driver. The first stop was the Balata Cathedral, which is a miniature version of Sacré-Cœur in Paris. Built in 1924, this is a popular tour stop on the way to the Balata Gardens, which was our next destination. The garden began in 1982 by horticulturist Jean-Philippe Thos and opened to the public in 1987. It is set on former farmland with picturesque views. The garden is built around this typical Creole house, which belonged to Jean-Philippe's grandparents and was the entranceway for a number of visitors on this day. Just on the other side of the entrance, there were hummingbird feeders with a lot of activity going on. There is a map of the garden, and to walk all the paths, it was about an hours-long leisurely stroll. Today, the garden contains about 3,000 varieties of tropical plants from around the world, including 300 types of palm trees. There were some very impressive trees, such as this strangler fig, and some huge strands of bamboo on the property. It was interesting to see in the gardens many of the same plants that we have here in Florida. In all, this was one of the nicest gardens we have ever visited, and would highly recommend the visit as part of a Virgin Voyages cruise or on your own itinerary. Our last stop on the tour was the Habitation Clement, from the name of the famous family who settled there for nearly 100 years from 1887. The Habitation Clement is a vast agricultural area of 160 acres, nestled in the town of La France in the southeast of Martinique. Dominated by a Creole house dating back to the 18th century, this site, listed as a historical monument in 1996, is home to a major heritage site, a well-known contemporary art center, and a renowned rum house in the heart of sugarcane plantations. Clement House is an impressive place and was the meeting site for U.S. President George H.W. Bush and France's President Francois Mitterrand to discuss Mideast peace issues post-Desert Storm. Surrounded by acres of sugar and banana plants, Clement House welcomes visitors to first walk along the paths through beautiful park-like grounds before coming to the old rum distillery and warehouses for storing rum barrels. It is no longer a functioning distillery, but the rum products made elsewhere are on full display in the tasting room and gift store. A number of samples were provided, and the different types of rum and rum mixed drink bottles was endless.
White rum?
What's your impression?
I don't like it straight, I like it mixed.
In all, a good way to end our tour in Martinique. That evening, after our second visit to the restaurant next to Virgin, we attended the show Dual Reality, which we highlighted in a previous video. So we will not say much more other than we really enjoyed the show a second time. And if you like Cirque du Soleil type performances, then you will love this show as well. Sailing through the night and on to St. Kitts, we arrived in the capital and port city of Basseterre the next morning at 8 a.m. We would be in St. Kitts until 4 p.m. that afternoon. St. Kitts and the neighboring island of Nevis constitute one country, the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. We once again opted for a Virgin Voyages shore excursion using our sailor loot. This one was titled Best of St. Kitts Destination Circuit. Leaving the port on a small bus, our guide took us on a driving tour of the capital, noting some significant landmarks along the way. Our first stop was to the Palm Court Gardens. Now, one of the excursions offered through Virgin Voyages was a day at this location with access to the pool areas as well as the restaurant. Certainly a good option if you were looking to relax poolside with some great views, including those of the Valiant Lady in the distance. I am sure that those that chose this excursion enjoyed their day. For us, it was a quick orientation of the grounds and back on the bus. Next, it was on to the Wingfield and Romney Estates. Wingfield was the first land grant in the English West Indies in 1625 and the first permanent plantation settlement. The property's original crops were tobacco and indigo, dating from 1625 to the 1650s. Sugarcane then became more profitable and was continuously grown on the site for 350 years. The sugar industry functioned over the centuries, using in order animal-driven, water-driven, and eventually steam-driven methods of crushing the cane. This is an ongoing archaeological site, and the ruins of the distillery was discovered dating back to 1681. As such, Wingfields is recognized as the oldest intact distillery in the Caribbean. The neighboring Romney Manor have only had 5 family owners to date. The first owner was Sam Jefferson II, the great-great-great-grandfather of U.S. President Thomas Jefferson, owned the property in 1625. Later acquired by the Earl of Romney, the estate was renamed, and along with the Wingfield estate, was primarily used for sugarcane production. Today, the Romney estate is home to Curaloe Batik, which has an international reputation for fine batik products made of quality fabrics, including the exclusive Sea Island cotton. Using ancient Indonesian methods, it has since become the Caribbean's most sought-after batik textile. During a visit, you can watch the artists expertly demonstrate batik techniques and provide a full narration of the ancient art form and its history. They have a bright and colorful shop where no 2 pieces are exactly alike. Leaving the gift shop, there's a beautiful garden area where some great photos can be taken. Our last stop for the tour was a mountain winding drive up to the Brimstone Hill Fortress, which is a national park and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It was designed by the British military engineers and was built and maintained by enslaved Africans. It is one of the best preserved historical fortifications in the Americas. The fortress exchanged hands between the British and French in the 1700s. The fortress was finally abandoned by the British in 1852. A restoration society was founded in 1965, and in 1999 it became a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The walk to the top is a climb, but worth the views when getting there. There is a troop of monkeys around the fort, so be on the lookout for them. Also, hang on to your hat during a windy day, as the breeze can be quite strong up there. Back in the port, Jennifer wanted to do some shopping. The port area has a nice outdoor mall with some familiar brands that you will recognize from other ports in the Caribbean, as well as some restaurants and watering holes. These guys played some pretty good music. Our sailing that evening back to San Juan was uneventful, and soon we were at the airport for our flight back to Orlando. So that's a wrap on our video with the overview of the Lesser Antilles 7-day cruise that we took on Virgin Voyages Valiant Lady. And I know it was long, but we wanted to give you as much details as we could about the cruise. And in hindsight, I think that Jennifer and I would both agree that we've taken, I think, a half dozen cruises to the Caribbean, and I think that this one to the Lesser Antilles was probably the best we've ever done. So hopefully you too get a chance to explore the Southern Caribbean like we did. So until the next video, we wish you a great day, and we'll see you then.